Welcome to Box on the Box Rock and Celluloid, Botbrack for short. So today I'm going to be looking at the albums of melodic Swedish rockers Treat. So I first came across Treat probably in Kerrang, just an album review years ago now, but I didn't know much about them. I imagine it was Scratch and Bite or something like that. And then never checked them out. And I never had much profile in the UK. And years later, in the late noughties, I was working on a website called All Out Guitar, and the guy who ran it, one of the guys who ran it, said, "Oh, have you ever heard Treat?" We were at a guitar show, and I think he did me a copy of their Organised Crime album. And then about a year later or so, I was sort of organising, doing a gig with a band called Blitzkrieg, really well-known New Wobben band, and the guitarist of theirs was telling me about Treating the Coup de Grace album, which is a comeback album. So I checked that out, and I kind of really liked what I heard, and I slowly started checking out their stuff. So some of the albums I haven't got the first few because they're on kind of hard to find, but they just come out Japanese import, but quite cheaply, so maybe I'll get them. But Treat were called the Boys, and they were formed in 1981, and then eventually, I'm guessing sometime in late 83 or 84, they signed to Phonogram, Vertigo, and then they must change their name maybe, or maybe it's part of that. So the two mainstays are guitarist and principal songwriter Anders Wickstrom, who produces as well, and the singer and lyricist as well, co-songwriter, is Robert Ermland. Jamie Borges on drums now, and he's been with them a long time, since 87, since their third album, Dream Hunter. At the moment it's Patrick Appelgren and Niall Palsson in it. They've had various other members over the years. The most well-known one would be Matt Slevin, who's sung with Malmsteen, but we'll come to him. Their style is melodic rock. Obviously they get compared to Europe, but there's quite a lot of Def Leppard about them. So let's go through their albums. So the debut album, Scratch and Bite, this came out 24th of February 1985. The image on the front, the kind of embracing the kind of hair of the time, kind of things get really hair in 85, 86. But what you notice, first and foremost, they've got a good image, a good look. They're Swedish, of course they are. And they've got a nice logo, so just moving forward a bit, let's move that. Got a nice little branding treat. So this was produced by a guy called Erik Olhester. Never heard of him before. It's recorded at Polar Studios in Stockholm, which is where ABBA recorded their albums, and Led Zeppelin did In Through the Outdoor. I think the production's not great on this. I think the band's inexperienced probably in the studio, and it's got that the tempos aren't great on songs sometimes. The tempos need to be pushed a bit. It's a bit bishy. But it has got some good songs. Changes and Scratch and Bite and Get You On the Run, the first three songs are really good. I think Get You On the Run, I'm sure I've got another mix of that on the Weapons of Choice compilation. Perhaps people can enlighten me on that. The next track is Hiding, which is track 4, which is kind of got a White Snake, Don't Break My Heart Again, Cold as Ice, Foreigner vibe. It's okay, it's quite catchy, 6 out of 10. And then they got Too Wild, which is a sort of pour some sugar on me type of song. Obviously this is before Leopard released that. I'm not massively keen on that, but it's catchy. Then we've got We Are One, which is their typical syrupy ballads they often do. She just said that Hiding's got a kind of Leopard style bridge. And you got No Room for Strangers, track 7, which has got a good solo. It's kind of got a gallop like Billy's Got a Gun. And then You Got Me. It's a bit flat, that one. And Run With the Fire, which is the last track. Again, you can hear the kind of the solo's good by Anders Wickstrom, who's got a strong vibrato, strong melodic sense. But it's just kind of a bit flat. So I give this album a 5 out of 10. I'm sure there's people who maybe prefer it to me. I think it's 43 minutes and 49, so they do tight arrangements, Treat, but their tracks are kind of a bit longer, than other bands might do at this time. So the album after this is The Pleasure Principle. So this is an improvement. The first thing you notice on this is the production's a lot better, and you can hear the band's sort of experience from touring, I guess, and things like that. So it opens with Rev It Up, which is a really good opener, really cool track. The second track, Waiting Game, is a bit too syrupy for me. Not great. This album came out March 86, so a year later. Then Love Strokes, really good, great riff. You can hear Anders Wickstrom's ability to write a cool riff, and he's got a good tone, when he's got a great attack. So he's in that tradition of Scandinavian guitarists like Ron and the Tech Crow, Keith Marcello, Norum, tight room playing, great melodic sense. A good find for me as a player. You got Eyes of Fire track 4, which is a really good track as well. And then Take My Hands, the obligatory syrupy ballad. Fallen Angels are not great. And then you got Caught in the Line of Fire, which is really catchy, and Strike Without Warning. 2 really good tracks back to back. And then Ride My Hand, Steal Your Heart Away. A kind of 6 out of 10 tracks. I'll give this album a 6.5 out of 10. It's definitely an improvement. This is in the era when bands did albums every year, and record companies, would spend a lot of money on videos and record, but they're quite happy to play the long game. If a band's not breaking on the 3rd or 4th album, they're in trouble, and this is what happened to Treat. But I think Treat had quite a bit of success in Sweden and parts of Europe, so it probably kept them in the deal. But yeah, like I said, labels was happy to tick along and keep working to get it right. They were taking a long-term investment in bands. I mean, people will knock record labels, but that's something we can't kind of deny bands were given time back then. So on to their 3rd album, which is Dream Hunter. So again, there's another big step up here. Productions by a guy called Albert Bocolt. Not heard of him. This is recorded at Weishold Studios in Holland, which is where Def Leppard did Hysteria, so no surprise there. The band maybe actually was possibly recorded before then, before Hysteria came out. But this is a big improvement. Again, Wickstrom and Ernland writing most of the songs. Jamie Borger comes in on drums. A lot more punch. Again, 45-minute album, 10 tracks. Again, Treat just doing slightly longer tracks than maybe bands were at the time. But it opens with Soul Survivor, which is a really, really good track with a great middle 8. And You're the One That I Want, which is really catchy. Take Me On Your Wings, which has got a nice kind of leopard style verse, kind of like a Black Animal, 6 out of 10. Best of Me's this syrupy ballad, obligatory, but it's a bit better than they've done. This is the best syrupy ballad they've done up to now. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It's well written, it's well structured. And then Dancing on the Edge is fairly catchy. It's got a kind of Thin Lizzy ending. That I'm guessing that kind of finished the original side one of the vinyl on this. There's actually 2 covers for this. There's the kind of black and white cover, and then the international cover is kind of colour, I think. Again, they always have the Treat logo at the top. They're wise to do that branding because it's a nice logo, nice symmetry. Outlaw opens side 2. Good track, not great. And then World of Promises, probably one of their best known tracks. This was done as a cover version by In Flames, and it's really good. It's a crap video. It's in that era of MTV where bands overperform and do stupid hijinks to the camera. It's one of the terrible things about the whole video era, particularly for metal bands. They were just made to look stupid with the hair, and it didn't do them any favours as the 80s went on. But really good track. One Way to Glory is pretty catchy, and then Save Yourself. So not great tracks, but solid. And then it finishes with The Winner. It's got great guitar sound, great middle section, and that's another really strong track. So this album doesn't have a bad track. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's probably missing. It probably needs more great tracks. But the band's climbed and got better with every album here. So at this point, I'm guessing 1988 they do a Monsters of Rock tour. I'm guessing that's a European one, and at some point they've supported Queen. I think it's back in 86, and then make the Organised Crime album that comes out in 89. So a bit of a gap. I really like this. I'm sorry, these are back to front. Unfortunately, I have to do this in beauty face because I can't line it up. Apologies about that, but you'll find the proper artwork the right way around online. This is a really good record. I think they actually forfeited royalties on this, or some of their advance, I can't remember, to get it remixed. They weren't happy with the remix. It's a really good sounding record. It's produced by Peter Hoke and Andy Lunn. I'm not sure who remixed it. But anyway, it's recorded in West Germany. Mixed by Ian Taylor at Livingston Studios. London's obviously gone to the UK to mix it, or maybe he's credited as the mixer, but they've got someone else in. But obviously Ready for the Taking. This is a really cool Whitesnake sleazy rocker with a great structure, really good chorus, and a superb solo band as Wickstrom. I'd say this is his best solo, or one of his best up to now. And he puts himself in the mix there with the other style of, he's not a shredder, but he does the two-handed tapping and some quick runs, and, he does a comparable solo to other guitarists of that era, or whether it be Tony Ray of Sorare or Red Beach and those kind of guys. Then you got Party All Over, another really catchy track, cheesy but really well done. Keep Your Hands to Yourself. Again, it's catchy. The tracks, again, a long run list are all over 4 minutes, 2 over 5, one's only part of all of us under 4 minutes. But the good arrangements, then Conspiracy, it's another good track. And Mr. Heartache is track 6. Again, not as into that track, but it's pretty good. Give Me One More Night, this is probably my other favourite track, along with Ready for the Taking. Great riff by Wickstrom on this, using the types of of thirds and fourths. Those those classic cock rock riffs that we get from that time. Nice, lovely guitar sound with lots of hair, but very tight. Get You on the Run is another good track. Like I say, you've got the great lead line by Wickstrom at the start of this. Right. That's why I've got confused here. Get You on the Run's on Scratch and Bite, and then they've re-recorded it. Sorry about this. They re-recorded it for this Organised Crime album, the 4th album. It's a lot better. The tempo's better, production's better, and like the solo's excellent. Home Is Where the Heart Is, good catchy track. Fatal Smile, that's really good. Another really strong track with a nice neoclassical tinge solo by Wickstrom, and then Hunger. Actually, Hunger's a great track. Again, it's got a nice kind of slow gallop. There's not a bad track on this album, and like Hunger's Fatal Smile, Ready for the Taking, Give Me One More Night, and Get You on the Run really stand out as really, really top tracks. Stay Away, actually, I didn't mention the ballad, track 4, and that's a good ballad. Easy an 8.5 out of 10 this album. A shame, they took a step up, but then Robert Englund leaves. I'm guessing the band aren't having the success, and there's a gap of 3 years, and they get Mats Levin in. So Mats Levin later on, he did Malmsteen's Facing the Animal album. Let me just check. He was in another band. He's done work for Trans-Siberian Orchestra, he's done stuff for Farwin, he's actually been in loads of stuff. Matt Levin's a really good singer. He's got a great range. He can do high screams. He's got a kind of rasp. But in Treat, Robert Englund has... Robert Englund's not technically as good a singer as Matt Levin. But he's got a melodic quality that fits the band. Levin sends it more into cock rock territory. And this album's kind of heavier, more guitar-ier. It's weird. It kind of reminds me of kind of extreme type of riffs. It's called Treat, it's self-titled. But it's strange, it's that time, you release an album, it's a little raw, a little heavier, but it's just too cock rock to fit in with the time. And on the front of the album, the band are looking more down and dirty. They've kind of dressed down. There's a lot of bands are starting to do at this point. But the kind of ship sailing away from this kind of music. I mean, the tracks you got, Watch Your Tongue, Blood, Sweat and Love. Not Really My Bag, Banging on Your Door. That's got an Aerosmith Rat style riff. Poor Man, that's quite catchy. We're Alright Now's got slide guitar. Dog Day Down. Justice is a nice acoustic track. Up until now, not really standing out any tracks. New Religion's a bit extreme-ish, and it's got a brass section, which I just, whenever brass sections appears, David Roth used them on A Little Late Enough. You instantly think of Aerosmith, and then Extreme using those brass sections on Pornography, and it not just dates it for me. Ready Steady Goes, up tempo and catchy. Learn to Fly, that's the ballad. This was the first track I heard off this, which is on the Weapon of Choice album, which we'll come to. It's a compilation. It's a lovely track. It's a lovely vocal by Matt Levin. A whole lot of shakings. Got a great rhythm guitar, sounds a bit cheesy. Keep It Coming, good groove. Good production on that, great snare sound. It's a good sounding record, this. It's big, it's robust, but it's a little less polished. It's a decent record. It's that thing when you change a singer, even if the singer's better or different, it doesn't sound like the band as much. David Roth with Van Halen was an example. Obviously you get an upscale with Bruce and Maiden. Levin's excellent, and he's not wrong for a band like Treat. It's just coming in after 4 albums for a 5th album. It didn't really work. I haven't listened to this album a lot. I've had it on about 3 times on the internet. There's people who would like this album, and I probably would. I'm trying not to be quick to judge it, but basically the band split up after this, 93, I think. And then someone licenses or Phonogram, Universal put out the Weapon of Choice compilation, again, back to front, sorry. And this is a really good introduction to the band. It's got Rev It Up, I Burn For You. I Burn For You is like a new track I think they've done. Could be wrong there. World of Promises, Conspiracy, Ride Me High, Mr. Heartache. You know, I mean, Ride Me High, Mr. Heartache, not my favourite tracks, but good. We Are One's on there, a bit cheesy. But Soul Survivor, excellent. They do a track called Go. Now this is a new track in a Def Leppard style. And I think this is what inspired the band to kind of start up again, because they can use the modern production. And great song, Ready for the Taking, obviously excellent. Change is really good. Getting on the Run, it's the organised crime version. Strike Without Warning, really good. Too Wild, not as into that, I said before. Outlaw, Then As You Wanna Want. Learn to Fly is the only Matt Lemon track on, but a lovely track. And then there's Still in Heaven. Now I'm not sure where that's from, but it's really good. Some great guitar on that. So these new tracks, or these tracks which were unreleased, I've not found elsewhere, really good. And there's a kind of cool picture of the band, probably taken at a more recent time there. So basically they get back together and then they make this album, and this is Coup de Grace. So this is one of the seminal melodic rock releases of 2010, but not only that, it's probably one of the best melodic hard rock releases of the decade. You know, this came out, the production by Anders Wickstrom's great, the mix is great, it sounds, you know, they haven't, all the things I've learned prior to this, it's great. It's got a really good prelude, Coup de Grace, which is kind of got orchestral arrangement and lovely tapes of speeches of Martin Luther King Kennedy. Really effective, and then it goes into the title track, War Is Over, and the band just lay down a marker. Really good lyric, a good groove, nice up-tempo song, lots of energy, very good. Track 3's All In. Not my favourite track on the album, but a good track. What I would say with this album, you've got, for me, 8 or 9 corkers, and the other 5 tracks, 6 tracks, a good 6 out of 10 tracks. So I'll just say, like, for me, filler tracks are tracks that are good, but they're like a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Great tracks are always a 9 or a 10. Tracks I don't consider as filler, they're just tracks I don't want to listen to. Then you got Paper Tiger, really good track. Anders Wickstrom's is a lovely sort of Marcello-esque solo on this. He's not shredding as much now as he was in the past, but he's still making really good melodic statements. Then you got Raw, which, again, this is a 6 out of 10, which is good. A Life to Die For, a syrupy ballad, it's got to be in there, but I think this is their best syrupy ballad up to now. It's a good one, it's cheesy as food, but it's good. And then there's Tangled Up, this is great. Really cheesy, but really catchy. And then probably my favourite track, The Skies of Mongolia. Great sort of, I think it's drop D, this riff, and Wickstrom harnesses a great crunchy rhythm guitar sound. So this manages to be melodic but heavy. Then Heaven Can Wait, another really good track. Great, really catchy chorus. Choruses on this album are great. I'm Not Running, good track, kind of 6 out of 10. Then No Way Without You, this is up-tempo, really euphoric chorus. Then We Own the Night, another, bringing out the Def Leppard influence again, and this is a corking track. And then it finishes with All for Love and Breathless. Probably All for Love is probably slightly better. But good. I mean, you will not be disappointed with this album. If you like melodic hard rock, buy Coup de Grace, by Tree. It's one of the best, 9 out of 10, I would say. All the tracks are 3+ minutes, 4+ minutes, but very well arranged. It's got no fat on this album. You know, you normally with 14-track albums, I'm like, I could have lost a couple of tracks. But with this one, yeah, they maybe could have, but it just works very well. Yeah, it's produced by Anders Wickstrom and Patrick Appelgren, co-producers, engineered, can't see there, sorry. Yeah, really good. I mean, they've obviously spent time on this. So weird, they have a 6-year gap, 2016, which seems strange because they did some touring, and then they did a Ghost of Graceland album. Now I must confess, can't totally get into this. There's 6 years gap. It's a couple of notches down from Coup de Grace. It opens with a title track, which is great, which has got a really good riff. And the production is not quite as good, but it's still really good. And the band, it's the same band members, I believe. But you know, the tracks, for me, there's no bad tracks on it. It just hasn't got the standout cuts. I mean, Ghost of Graceland, I would say maybe Alien Earthlings, Better the Devil You Know, maybe. You know, like I say, there's no tracks on this I would say, oh, it's crap. It's just lacking that kind of, oh, I really want to listen, oh, that track's great for me. Again, some people would disagree, so I'd say this is a 6 out of 10, this album, 7 out of 10. It's difficult though because it was coming after such a good album. Then recently they released this in 2018, which is Tunguska. And this is a step back in the right direction. There's the Top Treat logo. 12 tracks on this. Progenitors, excellent opening track, really good. Production's better, again, from compared to Ghost of Graceland. And I did this 2 years after, so obviously, like, yeah, I wanted to keep doing it. Always Have, Always Will, catchy, good. Best of Enemies, yep, good. Rose of Jericho, don't like this as much. Then you've got Heart Math City, whatever Heart Math City means, but this has got a great riff. That's one of my favourite tracks. Creeps, Build a Love. Build a Love's very catchy. And then Man Overboard, catchy track. Riptide, really good. Tomorrow Never Comes, good. The obligatory syrupy ballad, but it's a good one, a little more reflective, less cheesy, with a lovely solo. All Bets Are Off, probably the weakest track on the album. That's the one I don't like. And then Undefeated's really catchy. So give this album an 8 out of 10, or certainly 7.5. So yeah, that's my run for the Treat albums. The only thing I missed is the Road More Less Travel, which is a live thing, and then you got Scratch and Bite remaster you can get, which has a live at Firefest DVD from 2008. And there's an album called Muscle in Motion, and this is, I think, must be demo tracks and other tracks they did maybe for another album, or tracks they left out from the Max 11 era. There's 9 tracks on this. Streets Cry Freedom is an excellent track. You know, there's one called Every Little Girlie's really catchy, but there's a song called Once in a Lunchtime with ridiculous lyrics. I feel like on these tracks, the quality of the lyrics are pretty poor, and it kind of stands out more. It's really kind of leftover type tracks from the Treat album. Like I say, I should probably give that another bit more of a listen. But yeah, so that's my run through Treat. So now a band that people may not be aware of, kind of obviously in the shadow of other Swedish acts, but a very, very good band with loads of, with some great albums and loads of good songs. So like I say, a good place to start is Wetman of Choice as a compilation, and Coup de Grace. They'd get you started. Okay, cheers, thanks for checking that out, and I'll see you again, thanks.